Chronically Blue. Hello, my Sega Bears. How's it going? Welcome back to some more Sonic X Shadow Generations. This is just the heavily sped up version of it, where we just show you where everything is for like the first 5 minutes, and maybe add in some dialogue, and then, all the reading happens afterwards. So we got Mad Matrix up in here. That is so much fun. I am happy to tell you that we only have 2 songs left, and then, quite a few illustrations and stuff. But again, we'll be handling all the remaining episodes next episode. So, yeah, that's what we're forward to, because we are pretty close to being done here. And that part is, super exciting for me. I'm quite legitimately ready for it. Because once that's done, I can just, once that's done, then Luigi's Mansion shouldn't be too far behind. And I'm going to, what's going to happen. It's going to be Luigi's Mansion, which is currently going on. And then it's going to be Spyro 3 and Crash Bandicoot. By the way, this month has gone by so fast. It is quite insane, actually. I don't know how it happened. Here we have Blue Falcon. Here we have a challenge. It's going to be right on over where Gerald Robotnik and Maria Robotnik are. In fact, they're right on over there. You see them. But the fact that the month is almost over already, I'm like, how did this happen? I'm 100% sure that I will not be able to finish Spyro in 1 month unless I did an episode a day, and even then, that's really because I'm not a big Spyro person. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like, yeah, let's try all 3 Spyro games because they put in a trilogy, so why not? Let's see how it goes. But we did finish the ring challenge right there, so that's good. Now, I will say that we went and saw Wicked last night, and it's a movie. You can go ahead and actually fly back there, as I showed you. You can stop flying if you want, and then just fall to your death. It's completely up to you. Up here we do have another one. That is already 2 little boxes right there. But here we have another song. Yeah, it's not surprising that the thing that we have left is mostly illustrations. In case you were upset about how we left off finding the final little token for the first stage, it's right over here. If you just go to that little side thing there, yeah, it's right here. And again, don't worry, we're putting in a whole bunch of stuff into the next episode. It's just that for this little area, it's going to be just trying to do stuff. But I'm going to be showing you where the bolts are, as you've been seeing. So if you actually go up there, a bolt will magically appear in that cutscene. For some reason, I really don't know.
Deeply appreciated.
Gracious, thank you for your generosity. Yeah, they say something every single time you hand them 20. Look at that robust color, it's coming in nicely. You say that, how much time can we even be here? It's all relative, old chum. Besides, we don't age. Oh yeah, I guess it's just a rocket. Yeah, I want to get out of here. Let's hurry. Each time you give them bolts, they give you another thing. There's 40 bolts. Look how far along we are. I can't wait till it's finished. Hey look, an instruction manual. Maybe it's for emotional support? Wow, that's a whole bushel, or pile, whatever you call a bunch of parts.
Yes.
The escape rocket's almost done. I can't wait to get home. Maybe we could take a detour. Good idea. I hear Flicky Island's just lovely this time of year. And with that, here's the final 20 bolts, to which we get a trophy, because of course we do. Gotta get trophies.
Excellent.
Oh joy, the rapture, the rocket's finally complete. And there's a little flicky bird in there. It looks just like a clock. That's because it is a clock. It's much for our vacation. At least we got to see a flicky in the end. And with that, we got a Virtual Reality Support Me remix. And yep, this is what we get for finding all 80 bolts around the overworld. Hello, all of my sleepy bears. My name's Chronic Blue, and welcome to reading Gerald's journal. Hope you enjoy how cut up everything is. That's just how we're doing it. But thankfully, this will be the last time things are getting cut up, and then next week it'll be completely normal. So let's read the journal. Just so you know, there's a lot of words and such that are going to be grayed out here, so I'm going to do my best to interpret it. But if I don't know what it is, then I'm honestly just going to say blank. Thank you, Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remaster, for updating. From Archival and Requisitions Department to Command Abraham Tower. Commander, your request. Thank you, Zoneless N0. It's been a long time since I played it, actually. Commander, your request for tangible evidence of the Ark incident 50 years ago produced very little results. Your predecessor was quite thorough in erasing the cover-up operation. However, Professor... My tongue. Try that again. Commander, your request for tangible evidence of the Ark incident 50 years ago produced very little results. Your predecessor was quite thorough in erasing the cover-up operation. However, Professor Gerald Robotnik's personal diary managed to survive. Ironically, we have Dr. Eggman to thank for finding it all. This journal was recovered during the investigation of Dr. Eggman's stronghold following the latest incident with the Ark. Unfortunately, time and tragedy have not been kind to the journal. What you're holding now is all that remains of the original book. I'm afraid there's no way of recovering the missing pages, nor can I restore the damaged or redacted elements. It's a pity, as I would have liked very much to have greater insight into Gerald and Maria's lives too. Regards, T. Entry 42. I take great pride in my research and discoveries. Few men are labeled genius in their own time, but nothing compares to my pride in my boys, blank and blank. They both graduated summa cum laude, and in record time no less. They'll have their doctorates in no time. It seems my passions for archaeology and robotics are split between them, but I guess that's what makes them chips off the old block. Ho! I cannot wait to see what boons they bring to the world. Entry 162. I can't believe how much time has passed. It feels like yesterday I was celebrating my boys becoming men, and now I'm a grandfather. Her name is Maria, and she is perfect in every way. She brings a smile to everyone's face, and everyone falls in love with her the moment they lay eyes on her. If nothing else, she is my legacy. Everything I do from this day forward, I do for her. Entry 170. I deciphered the engravings on an ancient ring I found on a previous dig in the blank jungle and calculated the location of the fabled flying paradise. I went alone to verify my findings and was rewarded with the spectacle of an angelic island. The land was vast, lush, and hosted a number of biomes in close proximity to each other. I believe I could see an entire floating city at one point. Most majestic of all was a shrine devoted to what appeared to be a massive blank. Could this be the legendary blank? I dared not approach or overstay my welcome. As much as I wanted to explore every inch of this island, I thought it was a sacred land. Just setting foot on its soil felt taboo. I don't know if any civilization remains. The land is vast and my stay was brief, but the majesty of that emerald and shrine will stay with me for the rest of my life. Entry 185. I'm about to embark on the most ambitious project of my life. The Earth's first orbital space colony will be the 9th wonder of the world. It will be a place of science, researching all manner of ways to improve our home below, seeing as it is a vessel meant to preserve life amid the harshness of space. I have christened it the Ark. It shall be a vessel to pass on the value of life and peace to the next generation. And while most of the megastructure will be hidden within the base planetoid, I may have gotten a little self-indulgent in the design. Ho ho! The only real concern is the source of the funding. While the United Federation supports us, most of the financing is coming from blank. I have no illusions about what they'll want, but I'm building the Ark to preserve life, not end it. While I have my concerns, I am a genius, so I'm sure I'll figure something out when the time comes. Entry 389. Life and work aboard the Ark has been exciting, for good and for ill. As a positive, we've acquired one of the legendary blanks for our research. They're said to hold unlimited power, and preliminary tests suggest some effect on space-time, bending reality to one's will. Imagine the possibilities. Sadly, blank is doing just that, but in all the wrong ways. The desire for weapons research is becoming increasingly overt and decreasingly polite. I used my clout to get a direct line to the president to ask for him to intervene. He said he would, but then asked me for something equally obscene. He wants me to discover a means to immortality. I aim to improve life, not pervert it. Everything gives way to entropy. The concept is laughable and intangible as a shadow. I refused him outright. In retrospect, perhaps I could have been more diplomatic about it. I find myself on edge. Political pressures aside, I'm told Maria is sick with no clear diagnosis. I wish I could look into it myself, but I'm needed aboard the Ark. Hopefully this will pass and she'll recover soon. She is too precious to be left to suffer. Entry, blank, the all-powerful, blank. Entry, blank, the blank held the power to bind a soul. Entry, blank, the blank destroyed the entire. Entry 402. I have uncovered a most interesting specimen from the warehouse. It was first recovered by my son, blank, who became quite the archaeologist. I believe it to be some sort of puppet or robot made by an ancient people. At first, I didn't think anything of it, but when I was experimenting on the thing, it began to move. This suggests the possibility that even the ancient civilizations could harness the power of the blank. When I was researching various papers related to the blank and this robot, I discovered that there was a possibility that this robot was something incredible. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this robot may be the cause of the destruction of the fourth great civilization. I'm just not sure I believe it just yet, though. Entry 407. I am no longer able to ignore the possibility that this robot did in fact destroy the fourth great civilization. I have discovered a stone tablet that explains as much. According to this tablet, when the figure falls from the heavens and the stone of the gods is joined, all that exists will become one again. Though it is difficult to believe, this robot has been watching my movements and mimicking all that I do. I was amazed by my scans of this being. Surprisingly, reams and reams of data scrolled and caused my most powerful computer to crash. More intriguing was that the data was all about melee combat and weapons of that age. Eventually, if this being is ever restored to its former state, it will put all that data to use and recreate all the weaponry and combat abilities that it once had. And that's not all. If my guesses are correct, it will also have the ability to absorb modern weaponry as well. What have I done? I've uncovered a horrible weapon. Entry 428. It has been a trying time, to say the least. Maria was diagnosed with neuroimmunodeficiency syndrome. There is no cure. Yet, I pulled some strings and had her brought aboard the Ark for treatment and assessment. The low-gravity environment should help keep her syndrome manageable. Her family has been less than enthusiastic with my decision. Despite everything, she remains the most positive person in the room. Most of the staff here left their families back on Earth, so I worried she'd feel lonely. Instead, she became the adoptive daughter of every researcher on the Ark. Moreover, she is becoming like a big sister to Little Blank, the Ark's happy little accident over the past few years. The President keeps prompting me with his request to unlock the mysteries of life. Perhaps with his funding and clout, I could find a means to cure Maria while chasing that shadow. Entry 515. Blank has dropped all pretense and is demanding weapons research in exchange for continued funding. I promised the President I'd begin work on Project Shadow, but even he can't get them to back down. It appears I have a gun to my head on the matter. Ho ho! Years ago, I discovered records of an ancient god of destruction called Chaos. It was said to command the fury and force of the ocean, or something to that effect. I've begun developing a basic AI-driven apparatus that can generate cohesion in water and produce controlled shapes for basic actions. I've told the top brass these can turn any body of water into an autonomous weapon. Deep down, I'm hoping it can be used as easily deployed search and rescue units. Imagine a flood turned back on itself to aid those in the rubble. Entry 530. Research into Project Shadow is in full swing. The first step has been learning how to siphon some emerald energy and apply it to living tissue. To that end, I've developed the Chaos Drives. Direct applications seem too harsh. Any organism that could directly interface with an emerald would be fearsome indeed. The initial tests were promising, so now we're moving on to the next stage in trials. I will be using salamanders for the regenerative abilities and manageable sizes. We will begin applying Chaos Drives to the test subjects and see how its vitals respond. Try that again. The initial tests were promising, so now we're moving on to the next stage in trials. I will be using salamanders for the regenerative abilities and manageable size. We will begin applying Chaos Drives to the test subject and see how its vitals respond. And to keep Blank from breathing down my neck, I'm supplying them with Chaos Drives as batteries for their mechanized division. I loathe powering engines of war, but sacrifices have to be made if I'm to save Maria. I'll figure something out in the long run. I am a genius after all. Entry 568. Project Shadow has reached an impasse. The subject exhibits accelerated cellular growth and to the point it cannot support its own biological systems. I've developed an external life support system to compensate, but it will need to be upgraded and redesigned as the subject continues to grow. The way it thrashes and roars, it's uncontrollable. Furthermore, it is generating unexplained energetic reactions. Is this an expression of the blank power? Can a living thing produce such energy? Can it be controlled? There are too many questions and way too many variables, and unfortunately, the answers lie in this bio-lizard's life. I will keep it alive and as comfortable as I can until I have the answers I need. I found a region in the Ark that should be able to safely house it while we continue our experiments. I'm not sure what I will tell Maria. I do not want to lie to her, but I think the truth is too cruel. Entry 589. Maria is growing into a lovely young woman. It breaks my heart that someone as bright and energetic as her is diminished by disease. There are no visible effects, and I've caught my fellow researchers muttering to each other, doubting her illness. It is infuriating. I find all my reason and restraint vanishes when she's slighted, and yet she remains an unending font of positivity. Even on her worst days, when the fear and the pain take hold, she tells me she endures for the day when she can return home. She has total faith in me, and that Project Shadow will cure her. Her family back on Earth has no such faith. It's been so long, some of the researchers actually think she was born here. Her family either wants her better or wants her home. I can do neither. Somehow this scorn is harsher than the government or the military's increasing pressure for more weapons research. I am a genius. I have to figure this out. Entry 616. Desperate times calls for desperate measures, and I am a desperate man. The Black Comet returned to Earth on its 50-year orbit. I had no idea it actually harbored Blank. Aboard it was Blank. Somehow we knew about the Blank and seemed impressed with my work. He offered me a Faustian deal. I accepted. Using his DNA, I was able to overcome every hurdle Project Shadow had put before me. The small, sturdy biped I developed can perfectly interact with Blank energy. Blank wanted me to craft a herald for his future invasion. He wants Project Shadow to generate undying soldiers for them. I will play them both for fools. Entry 620. When I launched Project Shadow initially, I named it with scorn and mockery. I was trying to grab hold of an intangible goal. Later, it sounded appropriately villainous as I was toying with the fundamentals of life itself. But then, Maria looked upon the unfinished specimen and put things into a whole new perspective. A shadow tells you which way to go to find the light. In an instant, she cut through all my pessimism and doubt and filled me with hope. Shadow, as she's come to call him, will not be some dark creature, but a champion of life and hope. I would not have seen that if not for Maria. She is truly a remarkable person who can do great and wondrous things for the world. I must save her, no matter the cost. Entry 633. I now understand why this being was named Gizoid. In the ancient tongue, it means everything. According to the stone tablet, if the Gizoid establishes a link with someone, the Gizoid will swear loyalty to that person. Perhaps it still lacks some energy, but it has been saying the word link to me in broken tones. It went on to explain, "Show me your true strength, and I shall obey. I am all things, and all shall belong to me." So, as it suggested, I brought it before my collection of model guns and fired them all. Then suddenly it said, "I shall follow your every command and never leave your side." And since then, it refuses to listen to anyone but me. While it still is a fearsome weapon of destruction, while it remains under my control, at least it won't be used for evil. However, if someone with evil intentions ever forms a link with the Gizoid, I don't even want to think about what will happen. I must research how one can re-establish a link with the Gizoid. Entry 640. The upper echelon is going crazy. Entry 640. The upper echelon is going crazy. Perhaps they aim to freeze Project Shadow. Soon, the ultimate life form will be completed. The application to my granddaughter is also imminent. I cannot just let them stop my study at this point because I am the only one who can save my granddaughter's life. Entry 642. The higher-ups are threatening to shut down this research facility. I have no choice but to hand the Gizoid to buy myself more time for my research. I try to be careful and commanded to never absorb any dangerous technologies. However, I have heard that other researchers have been making the Gizoid absorb weapons. Apparently, the way to cause a Gizoid to form a new link is to show it power that surpasses that of its former master. While this poses immense danger, I cannot risk losing Maria. Entry 650. The top brass still aren't finished, and they aren't satisfied. The Gizoid isn't big enough or flashy enough for them. Fine. I've developed a weapon I'm calling the Blank. It taps directly into the Ark's central reactor to produce an unethical degree of firepower. They'll love it. However, to use on any target on Earth would destroy the world. They'll never be able to fire it. Checkmate. It will, however, be the perfect tool to deal with the Blank when they return. Eclipse means shadow. This is Shadow's cannon. My gift to him in battle he never asked for. I'm so sorry. Entry 651. Maria doesn't know the full scope of what Shadow's been designed for, but she understands he will be under tremendous strain. She's helped me conceptualize a number of accessories that will help focus his power and aid in his mobility. I'm also researching Chaos Control to see if I can gain an understanding of it before Shadow awakens. The power to stop time and space is incredible, and I don't want him to have to try and learn its intricacies on his own. Deep down, I know this progress is superficial, tangential at best. The larger issue remains Blank. The President, the Blank, my family. I've gleaned there's a rift growing between my sons. My love for them shouldn't be a divisive issue. I'm running out of time. Entry 670. It has been a whirlwind of events as of late. Project Shadow is complete, and now Shadow has awakened. I pre-programmed a great deal of data into his mind, but his abilities to parse it out and apply it to his situations is remarkable. All of his vitals are strong, and there seems to be no signs of instability or mutation. He stands in stark contrast to the monster we have sealed below decks. But all success of the physical and mental prowess comes second to his relationship to Maria. I had hoped they get along, but it's far better than that, thankfully. She is his guide to the world, and he is her stalwart companion. Never have I seen such instant mutual friendship and trust between two beings. I am truly moved. They remind me why I've been working so hard. They bring me hope. Back on Earth, my son and Maria's parents have been blessed with another little girl. They've already run tests, and she has none of the genetic markers linked to Maria's condition. While this was welcome news, the unspoken commentary was received loud and clear. I must save Maria. I must get my family back. And Shadow, you are the key to it all. Entry 670, 706. My worst fears have come true. The Gizoid has absorbed enough weaponry and technology that it started to go out of control. The resulting rampage led to the destruction of most of the Ark. I have deciphered the rest of the stone tablet. It says, when the Gizoid have learned all that it could, it became a god of wrath and all was destroyed. The researchers somehow managed to subdue the Gizoid and seal it away. Luckily, I only had one Blank installed. If I were to have all 7 installed, it might have destroyed the whole planet. The Gizoid is too much of a liability. I tried destroying its core, but nothing I did worked. I understand too little of the technology that built him. My best hope is to try and reprogram its AI into a free-willed, emotions-based AI. Entry... I lost track of the date. It's not very scientific of me, but I'm straying. Something has to give. The Gizoid's rampage caused an artificial chaos to behave erratically. I attempted to regain network control by inverting the polarity of the Blank, so instead they became violent. Shadow raced across the Ark, pacifying them quite expertly, but the damage is done. An SOS was sent to the government automatically. I dread the litigious reprimanding I'll have to endure next. A heritage of the past I dug out, Gizoid, and the ultimate life form I created by my own hand, Shadow. I equipped both weapons with a heart. If all powers are not what is to be obtained for oneself, but what is to be born from hearts that yearn for someone, I believe all conflicts should cease to exist. Please, if there is anyone listening to my prayers, bring hope to humanity. I don't quite know what happened or what went wrong. Was it a mistake to create the ultimate life form? I thought it would be something that would benefit mankind, but then the military guards landed on the colony that day. They were sent to destroy the research project that I had been working on. My colleagues at the research facility, my granddaughter Maria, I hope you are all safe. The colony was completely shut down, probably to keep the prototype from falling into the wrong hands. The Ark was shut down under the premise that there had been an accident. I found Maria's name among those who died when the Ark was shut down. She meant everything to me, and I couldn't bear the thought that she died because of my research. I lost everything. I had nothing more to live for. I went insane. All I could think about was to avenge her. I got scared as I was no longer able to control my thoughts. All I could think about was that I wanted it all to end. Based on my original projections, I was able to complete my project, Shadow. I designed its mind to be perfect, pure. I will leave everything to him. If you wish, release and awaken it to the world. If you wish to fill the world with destruction. Property of the Eggman Empire. Alright, so that is all of Gerald's little journal, but I will happily go ahead and give you the rundown on Shadow's history as well. No, it's not little snippets, but it's actually just little blurbs, so let's go ahead and read these here. Okay, Shadow began his life aboard the Ark with his creator, Professor Gerald, and grew up alongside the professor's granddaughter Maria. Gerald had created Shadow to be the ultimate life form, among other secret reasons. One fateful day, the gun military executed a cover-up operation resulting in Maria's death and Gerald's execution for his arrest. Shadow was captured and put into stasis. 50 years later, Dr. Eggman, Gerald's grandson, broke into the military vault to free Shadow and used him as his ultimate weapon. Shadow agreed to help, secretly driven by an intense desire for revenge. Shadow's true goal was to assemble the Chaos Emeralds to power the Eclipse Cannon, a space-based weapon capable of destroying the world. However, Sonic and his friends stood in his way. After a fierce battle, the threat of the Eclipse Cannon was neutralized. However, a backup plan was activated. Professor Gerald's posthumous confession was played for everyone, revealing he tampered with Shadow's memories and the Ark itself. He wanted revenge on the whole world for Maria's death. With the Eclipse Cannon disabled, the Ark was set on a crash course for Earth. Sonic and the others hurried to avert the catastrophe. Rose pleaded with Shadow to get him to help, and her words awakened his true memories that Maria wanted the people of the world to be safe and happy. Shadow raced to aid Sonic in saving the world. After an epic struggle, the Earth was safe, but Shadow had disappeared. With no memory or purpose, Shadow had lost all interest in the Earth and humanity. His search for direction was interrupted as the Earth was invaded by the Black Arms aliens from the Black Comet. Their leader, Black Doom, appeared before Shadow and ordered him to collect the Chaos Emeralds. Shadow felt no loyalty to Black Doom, but assumed he would have answers to his past as he set out to find the emeralds and regain his memory. Throughout his efforts, Shadow remembered his promise to Maria to protect the world. He also learned that Professor Gerald had used Black Doom's DNA to create him, not as a loyal soldier, but as the ultimate weapon to defeat the aliens. In a desperate final struggle, Shadow used the Chaos Emeralds to become Super Shadow, defeat Black Doom, and end the alien invasion. With his original mission complete, his desire to put his past behind him. Rouge, a treasure hunter and a spy, broke into one of Dr. Eggman's secret bases in search of a great treasure. To her surprise, she found Shadow sealed in a stasis capsule. In Omega, once Shadow was awakened, he had no memory of recent events. He wanted to find Dr. Eggman and get answers. Rouge still wanted to find Dr. Eggman's treasure, and Omega wanted revenge for being sealed away. United by a common goal, the three agreed to work together and hunt down Dr. Eggman. During the hunt for Dr. Eggman, Shadow was reunited with Sonic and came across androids that looked just like him. Shadow began to wonder if he was truly himself or another one of these copies. At the end of their adventure, Rouge accessed Dr. Eggman's vault. Instead of treasure, she found hundreds of androids. She too wondered if the Shadow she rescued was a copy. However, Omega pointed out all of the androids would have had to have been copied from the original. Shadow set out to find his own answers and a new meaning for his existence. Shadow and Rouge were commissioned by Gun to steal an artifact, the Scepter of Darkness, from Dr. Eggman. During a confrontation, the relic was broken, releasing the time-traveling spirit Mephiles. Mephiles took on a new form by inhabiting Shadow. He then banished Shadow and Rouge to 200 years into the future. Shadow witnessed a burning apocalypse, and his own future self sealed away. Mephiles revealed humanity, blamed Shadow for the downfall of the Earth, and imprisoned him. Mephiles offered Shadow a chance to get revenge on the world, but Shadow rejected him. Shadow eventually found his way back into the present day. He planned to reconstruct the Scepter of Darkness and seal Mephiles once more. However, Mephiles had grown too powerful after taking Shadow's form, and he could not be contained. Eventually, Mephiles realized his ultimate ambition and was reunited with Iblis. Together, they became the time-destroying god Solaris. Shadow, along with Sonic and Silver, used the Chaos Emeralds to obtain their super forms and defeat Solaris. In the end, Solaris was wiped from existence, and Shadow lost all memory of the encounters with Mephiles. Shadow invaded one of Dr. Eggman's bases to look for suspicious activity. Along the way, he defeated the mercenary team Jackal Squad and their leader, Infinite. Shadow easily defeated Infinite, leaving him feeling weak and humiliated. After being implanted with a copy of the Phantom Ruby, Infinite went on to be Dr. Eggman's elite agent. Together, they set about conquering the world and targeting Shadow's allies. Infinite used the virtual reality powers of the Phantom Ruby to create a copy of Shadow and used it in a fight against Sonic. Shadow eventually intervened, destroying the Phantom copy and joining Sonic's efforts to liberate the world. He was on the front lines, helping lead the charge to defeat Dr. Eggman's Phantom army and save the world. Anyway, that is all. That is everything that you missed and all the information you need about Shadow. And in case you had no idea and just went way buck wild into this with no hope of like knowing what anything was whatsoever. That was a lot. As you can see, we only have 2 songs that are missing, so that's good. We have a whole bunch of illustrations because they love to throw those in there. We are missing 2 characters I'm sure we can just like go and talk to. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and like exit here. Because, yeah, okay, we need to talk to Maria and Gerald. Okay. Let me just... There we go. No, I'm not actually going to do that, but we just need to talk to them so we can add them to our character list.
I'm so proud of you.
Shadow, I'm so proud of you. You've been through so much, but you stayed true to yourself. I know you can do this. Go, Shadow, go.
Shadow.
I have seen many things, uncovered countless mysteries, pushed the very boundaries of science. You, Shadow, are my finest creation. I have faith in you that you have put an end to this madness. That's fantastic. Now, if we go back to the collection room, we should see that all of the different character things are fully filled out now. Fantastic. That's a lot of words. Okay. At first glance, Shadow looks like a grim version of Sonic. In fact, he is the ultimate life form created by Dr. Eggman's grandfather, Professor Gerald. The professor was a genius and developed Shadow to have the ability of chaos control, allowing him to warp space-time with the power of a chaos emerald. Shadow will use any means necessary to achieve his goals. E123 Omega. Omega is the last and strongest of Dr. Eggman's E100 series of robots. He seeks revenge for being sealed away and unused. His rampage is meant to prove he is strongest of all. He is heavily armored, and his massive arms contain a wide variety of weapons that can cycle to replace his hands. Big the Cat, a giant gentle with surprising hidden strength. He enjoys eating, sleeping, and fishing. He lives a carefree life in the great outdoors with his best buddy Froggy. However, if his friends are in trouble, he'll do his best to help them out. Maria Robotnik. Maria is the granddaughter of Professor Gerald and cousin to Dr. Eggman. She's plagued by chronic illness, but that doesn't diminish her courage and loving heart. She was sent to the Ark for treatment and grew up alongside Shadow. She dreamed of one day being cured and returning to Earth. She loved and missed so much. However, she was lost to a tragedy, and now Shadow carries on her wish for the world. Professor Gerald Robotnik, the greatest scientific genius of all time and the creator of Shadow, unlike his grandson Dr. Eggman, he was driven by benevolent ambitions. He designed the space colony Ark and a variety of devices that could use the Chaos Emeralds. However, some of the top secret research went haywire, resulting in a catastrophe. This resulted in the military's intervention and tragic loss of Maria and Gerald's arrest. Orbot, a robot tended to Dr. Eggman. He's intelligent, proper, and follows orders faithfully. However, his sarcasm gets on Dr. Eggman's nerves. He often has to correct the mistakes of his companion, Cubot. Cubot, the robot attendant to Dr. Eggman. He's friendly and laid back, but not as bright as his counterpart, Orbot. He's extremely loyal, but lacks initiative and always waits to be given orders, which frustrates Dr. Eggman. Even though Orbot's always picking up his slack, they get along very well. My goodness. So many words. And yes, don't worry, we will be going through here because I want to say... Oh yeah. So once we are like fully done with everything, then we're going to go through all 98 artworks. But I just had to go and read everything so you know what everything and all was. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Bye, my sweet bears.